Okay, I'll be brave.
All right. Oh, how do you want a prompt for time? How do we handle, how do we,
Um, I'll just watch my computer.
okay. And like at 7 minutes, I'll ding a bell.
Yeah,
And at 8 minutes, you get the hook.
I liked the 5 minutes, so I didn't prepare much.
Oh, okay.
Oh, by the way, that was the puppy, and the dogs might start up. One of the neighbors fired up their Harley, and the dogs went crazy. So if that happens, I might mute myself for 30 seconds.
Okay.
Or I apologize in advance. Um, so thank you for inviting me to speak. And um, I'm in Connecticut, like here we are in Connecticut, but everything's waking up in nature. And last Sunday was Earth Day, so I just thought I would speak very briefly on waking up in nature and the value of it. And it brought to mind the Buddha's enlightenment. Well, his birth, enlightenment, and death. That celebration is coming up this second. And the importance of awareness in nature. And in my world, it's like the importance of trees as well. Because we're also interconnected. Sorry for the background, that was this. So I would like to read you a poem. And the poem is called The Web by Alison Hawthorne Deming, with lines from Claude Levi-Strauss. And it comes from an anthology put out by Orion Magazine called Old Growth. And it's all about writings on trees. So this is The Web. Is it possible there is a certain kind of beauty as large as the trees that survived the 500-year fire, the 50-year flood? Trees we can't comprehend even standing beside them with outstretched arms to gauge their span. A certain kind of beauty so strong, so deeply concealed in relationship, black truffle to redback vole to spotted owl to Douglas fir, bats and gnats, beetles and moths, flying squirrel and the high rise of a snag, each needing and feeding the other. A conversation so quiet the human world can vanish into it. A beauty moves in such a place like snowmelt, sieving through the fungal mats that underlie and interlace the giant firs, tunneling under streams where cutthroat fry live, a meter deep in gravel, fuming downstream over rocks that have a hold on place lasting longer than most nations, sluicing under deadfall spanners that rise and float to let floodwaters pass. A beauty that fills the space of the forest with music that can erupt as varied thrush or warbler, calypso orchid, or stream violet. Forest, a conversation, not an argument. A beauty gathering such clarity and force, it breaks the mind's fearful hold on its little moment, sleeping it, steeping it in a more dense intelligibility, within which centuries and distances answer each other and speak at last with one and the same voice. That's one sentence. That poem is one sentence. Yeah. So, I'm sorry, that's the dog in a bone. So this is my Earth Day offering, an invitation to spend more time in nature as the weather warms up here and expand awareness. And I just want to also make a excuse me. I just want to make a request that when we share the merit, perhaps we could offer it to Win Bruce. Have you heard of him? Anyone? He was a Buddhist practitioner out of Boulder, Colorado, and on Earth Day, he self-immolated in front of the Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. to bring attention to the ecological crisis in the world. So I want to honor him and offer the merit of my practice to him. Thank you for listening.
Craig bowing in. Bobbie, that was beautiful. I did not know about Win Bruce. Was that this year?
Yeah, that was Sunday when we were on retreat.
Oh man,
I know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I just had a quick response to your poem. My wife was in a book club, and that was the subject of the book of their club this just recently. They read that Old Growth, so I had an opportunity to read a few of those, and they were beautiful. Trees. One of my favorite seasons is winter, and the reason it's one of my favorite. The main reason it's the favorite is because of the trees, that you can see them without the leaves. And I just look up at them, and I've seen pictures of like the bronchial tract of a lung, and trees are exactly like that without the leaves on. They're like, they're the same thing as our lungs, just the this fractal patterning going into space, maximum contact. And it is the beauty in nature is just overwhelming. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome. Now this past week, I listened to links to talks from it's this Yale forum, so it's linked with the Yale Environmental Forest, which I live very close to, and there's a department in Yale which I didn't realize, but it's religion and ecology, and it's like they're joined, and they partnered with Orion Magazine to give these talks, and one of the speakers was saying how it's old growth, but the forests are 400 million years old, and we're 200,000 years old as human species, and so we actually developed as a result of the forest, but we don't realize it. And our terminology, our language, a lot of it comes from the forest. And like our neurons are dendritic, just like our lung patterns. Like the patterns in the forest are the patterns in ourselves. And it was just another one of those poof, wow moments. Yeah. So, and I love walking through the forest. I love the winter too for that reason. And in the spring, right now in Connecticut, all the warblers are coming back, and you can see them. And in 2 weeks, when the leaves come out, it'll be so hard to catch a sight of them. So kind of special time.
John Bang. I think talking about tree, the first thing that reminds me is the grandmother trees in Harry Potter. We got a big oak tree in the backyard. It's been there since we bought the house, and when we had our first daughter, I built a tree house leaning on that tree. So there are 2 posts on the side of the tree that I screw to the trunk near the bottom. And then it has like a V-shaped branch. So I wrap a steel cable around that V shape to secure the tree house to the tree, beside the screws. 18 years later, after the kids having fun with the tree house, and some of the wood start gone, so I decided, okay, I'm gonna take one of the winter break. I said, okay, I'm gonna disassemble and take the tree house down. Then notice, surprisingly, the tree has grown. So the screw at the bottom on the side, it kind of grab it and pull it in. It almost poked through the 2x4 wood that used as a support. So I just left the screw there. I don't want to touch and maybe pull it out will hurt this tree. So I cut the wood post and leave the tree, and was surprised that it grabbed and pulled that bolt in. And then the steel cable that I just wrap around the V section, it grows, and now it's like it's covered the whole table, the whole cable. It's like the cable was going through it, and so I couldn't. I don't want to pull the steel cable out, but it goes so deep and being wrapped when the tree grows. So I ended up, open one of the connection and just screw it back. And then after I take all the treehouse down, it's like now it's a necklace to the tree. That's still cable. So I just leave it that way. Champagne out.
There's so much we don't understand about trees. They're dynamic.
Jeff bowing in.
Heather bowed in, but you're muted.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's all right, Heather. Go ahead then.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. I'm sorry. I just, like John, I just wanted, your poem inspired me to want to share a relationship I have with a tree on my property. And I don't know, it's this incredibly sacred object to me. It's a sycamore, and it has 5 trunks, and it's so huge. It just towers above everything else. I think I'm gonna try to show it to you. I think I might be able to. I'm gonna stick my computer out the window, and let's see, let's see, maybe you can see it. It just goes above everything. And its elegance is so amazing to me. And it has these huge leaves. In the summer, I've collected some of them just to compare them. And they're like the size of a chair seat, the size of these leaves. And one thing I learned from someone about sycamores that might explain this tree and interests me in its history is that apparently when sycamores die, they can send out shoots. They form like a wagon wheel underground. And then at the periphery of the wheel where the tree dies, new shoots will come up. So someone told me that probably this tree had a predecessor that was a single trunk tree, and it died, and now its progeny are these 5 beautiful connected tree trunks. So I think about this tree a lot. I look at it a lot. When I sit here and meditate, I look up into its branches, and I think about its predecessor. it's suffered from gypsy moths. I fear for it, and it gives me an opportunity to contemplate transition and impermanence. Like, how would I feel if I lost this tree? It would be really hard for me, but you know, it's something that may happen. So anyway, I just I love it so much. It's just very dear to me. It's as a creature, as a fellow creature. So thank you for letting me share it with you today. And Bobbie, thank you for your inspiration with this poem. I really want to read the book now.
Sorry to say, speed daters, we're running out of time. Jeff, you bowed in. If you have a real quick thing, we can.
Yeah, I think so. So, so thank you. Yeah, I've always liked big plants for some reason. You know, if I grow a garden, I grow, besides vegetables, I like to have sunflowers and pumpkins. The bigger, the better. And growing up, I always liked to, walk, hike in the forest and would stop if there was a particularly big tree. I'm kind of fortunate. Our backyard is borders a stream, and there's some kind of inaccessible spots where I think there were trees that were probably a little too hard to get to cut down. So we have, 2 or 3 really large pines, probably at least 6-foot diameter at the base, really nice, big, wonderful trees. And I'm not sure, why I necessarily, feel this way about, big plants and big trees, except they're kind of a little more kind of marvelous and magical and, to me, it's just more awe-inspiring and kind of demonstrates the interconnectedness of things, and, it's just something I've kind of had and felt, all my life, well before being a Buddhist, just this sense, and had the great fortune many years ago to visit Sequoia National Forest. And for anyone who loves trees and loves big trees, go there. The redwoods may be taller, but the sequoias are more massive, and they're just, huge and amazing. And I know it's kind of a very kind of, could feel the interconnectedness of them to the earth. They're just, so massive and marvelous and wonderful. So thanks, Jeff, bowing out.
So MC bowing in. It's time to move on. We could, it's painful, but we have 4 more people to go, so we need to move on. I apologize. I didn't ring us back in from our break, and I'll just punctuate our talks here with the sound of the bell.